This is not a dream.
Phil walks the tree line when the sun goes down. Boots in the gravel on the edge of town. Backpack rattles with a lantern and a map, looking for the things that never make the trap. Old folks whisper when they see him pass. Boy's been chasing shadows in the midnight grass. But Phil just smiles at the cold night air, 'cause something out there knows he's there. In the rustle of leaves, in the creak of the pine, in the fog where the footprints twist the line. He's the Dogman Teepee hunter, roaming through the night, chasing ghostly echoes in the pale moonlight. From forgotten forests to the deserts deep, where the old bones hide and the spirits creep. With a camera and courage and a trail to see, he'll follow any legend through eternity. Yeah, the world's full of whispers most folks never see, but they all know Phil. He slept in ruins where the cold winds cry, watched strange lights dancing in a cold black sky, track bent branches where the tall grass sways, heard something breathing in the forest haze. Every dusty road and every haunted bed holds another secret he's about to defend. And when the fire burns low and the coyotes sing, you can bet he's hunting something strange again. Through the static and dark, through the myth and the lore, there's a howl in the hills he can't ignore. He's the Dogman Teepee hunter, roaming through the night, chasing ghostly echoes in the pale moonlight. From forgotten forests to the deserts deep, where the old bones hide and the spirits creep. With a camera and courage and a trail to see, he'll follow any legend through eternity. Yeah, the world's full of whispers most folks never see, but they all know Phil. But they all know Phil. Maybe it's a shadow, maybe something real, maybe ancient footprints only he can feel. But the truth lives somewhere past the tree line bend, and Phil won't stop until the very end. He's the Dogman Teepee hunter, roams into the trail, following the stories in the midnight gale. Ghosts in the rafters and beasts in the pines, calling out his name through the ancient signs. And if you hear a howl where the campfires be and a run free.
Right. No sounds, no sounds, no. Hello, welcome to Friday Night Files. That was a little competition I was doing, whether or not you could guess what I was saying. Anyone that did get it right, then you get a free mug. Yeah, welcome and thank you very much for being here. Do appreciate it. Next week I'm away. Gonna do a little bit of research. So I'm sort of like on the road, going up to Suffolk. Yeah, beautiful. So Suffolk Norfolk borders. So that should, I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to that. I've got a few places that I want to go and visit. As I say, we're doing a lot of research, and a couple of places popped up, and I like it when things pop up. Yeah, I'll be well looking forward to that. To be honest with you, I hope you guys have had a good week, enjoyable. And we've got a really fabulous guest on. Been looking forward to this. He's a guy that I've spoken to a little while back, and he's got a very, very interesting theory. Extremely interesting. It's a totally new take on Dogman, Bigfoot, alien, UFOs, all of that. Totally different take on it. It took a little while to try and get him on, but he's finally relented. Which is great news for us. Absolutely great news. But without further ado, I'm going to bring on Natalie in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Hello, mate.
Hello.
Did you guess what I was saying right at the beginning when my microphone was off?
I was sitting there thinking, I was like waving at the camera going, hoping that you could see. It was like, and then I
all
thought, is this a
calculated.
test for like lip reading? And I thought I'd be rubbish at
Yeah.
that anyway. But
Yeah. There was
yeah,
quite a few expletives. It's a good thing the microphone was off.
probably
Actually,
was.
to be honest, yeah, there was quite a lot of different expletives flying around.
We
And then
probably haven't
finally,
missed
Roxy
anything.
shouted up the stairs. Thank goodness for that. She shouted upstairs, "Your microphone's off!" And I was like, "What? I'm too busy talking. Your microphone is off!"
I thought I was going to be sitting here for 10 minutes, sort of like waiting for you to notice, and everyone's going, sound, no sound,
Yeah,
Phil, we can't hear
yeah.
you.
Oh, I mean, on the comments, all right, if you can guess exactly what I said, all right. Some of it was for adult purposes only. But if you can guess what I said, then yeah, a mug will be flying on its way.
We've got a
Literally,
new
probably.
weekly Friday Night Files quiz.
Yeah,
It's
why
like,
not?
yeah, work
Why
out what
not?
Phil's
Right?
saying in the first 5 minutes, and you can have a prize.
Yeah, that's right. I might do a weekly thing. I'll just come on and sort of like just start miming. You know? Yeah,
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 what
do that.
paranormal subject are we miming this week?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, what paranormal subject to be miming this week? Exactly. Yeah, it'll be. Well, it's going to be. It's going to boil down to sort of like a dog man, and at the end of the day, it's somewhere along the line ghosties, ghoulies. You know, you looking very good today. Looking very lovely, Natalie. Actually, I might say.
Thank you. I washed
Yeah.
my hair. I
Yeah.
thought I can't go on the podcast. I've been out doing horses all day, and I thought I can't go on the podcast like this, so I'd had to wash my hair. So
Yeah. Yeah.
but,
Phil, you look really nice tonight, Phil. You look really good. Thanks, Natalie. Yeah, I had my hair cut. Thanks for noticing. Yeah, I had my hair cut today, this afternoon, and even with a beard trim, you know, I went there. Yeah, and Turkish guy, and
all
I said, "I'll just short back and size be great." That's right, just tidy it up, you know, because it's sort of, my hair kind of like bunches out like horns for some reason. You know, when it gets too long.
right.
Yeah, I've been told I've got 2 crowns, believe it or not.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah. And he sort of looked at us because I said, "Oh, you know, just kind of like tidy it up a bit." And he looked at us and he said, "That beard," he said, "I've got to do something with that beard." I was like, What do you mean?" You know, and I took a bit of offense to that, really. And next thing, he just got the old trimmer out and whatnot, and he started attacking me chin. I was like, "What?" Yeah. Yeah.
So it was
Yeah.
down to here, and now it's the
Yeah.
beard was longer than that.
You know, when you go to hairdressers, do you ever get the hairdressers like, you know, at the end, towards the end of the your haircut? Do you ever get like them with a little stick with a bit of cotton on top, and they light it and then start flicking it at your ears?
No,
No,
I no, I've always gone to like normal hairdressers where they use scissors and combs and stuff.
I'll turn you around. All right.
I
Well,
don't know
Turkish
what
ones,
these
they tend
Turkish
to.
barbers are like.
Yeah.
Who's
No,
waving flames around your face? Is that
yeah.
to
Well,
ward off the jinns and the spirits and things at the end of the
it might
haircut?
well be. It might well be. I think it's got something to do with like kind of tactfully saying you've reached that time of age, really reached that age where it's kind of like stop growing on top. I'm going a bit bald in the middle here, so I'll end up looking like a bit of a monk. But it started where it's like kind of going on top, it's coming out the ears and nose. So the only way they can attack it is with like a flamethrower, if you like. It's like a miniature flamethrower, so it's a bit of
Little
copper
tiny
on.
flamethrower.
Yeah, it's the only way they can attack it, you know. But they seem to enjoy it anyway, you know. And they
I'm not
light it, and
sure.
then the flame, and they just sort of start flicking it very quickly at your ear.
All right, okay.
Yeah, so if you're lucky, you get away without any third-degree burns.
Yeah, so they're hoping they get the hair before the ear catches on fire, basically.
That's what they're hoping. That's
Yeah.
what they're hoping, yeah. And I just sort of like sit there while this is going on. You know, it's like being in a circus. You know,
Having the fire breathe in your direction.
yeah, yeah, it's like yeah, it's it exactly. Yeah, exactly. You know, you know, so that was quite an experience. But I guess you see, you're lucky being a lady in a way. You don't have any of that. That's all
Yeah,
right.
no, I'm missing out here. I'm a little bit jealous.
Oh, you haven't lived till you've had that
Yeah,
flamethrower on your
the
ears.
flame thrown haircut.
That's
So,
fantastic. Really good. Oh yeah,
that's
it's
probably
quite.
what the
You know,
bald spot is. It's like they've missed with the flames and it's just gone straight across the top of
maybe.
your head.
Yeah,
And I
maybe
just
so.
hope you've not
Yeah.
noticed.
Yeah, maybe so. Like I say, it's like a flipping circus, like being on this show, really. Right. Before we go on, I just want to mention for people out there, because in the UK it's nearly Father's Day. Okay, and to be honest with you, you know, I really I really can't think of a better really present on Father's Day than perusing the Dogman Teepee shop. Cool, that's an old video I got on there. That's where I went to that video there is where I went to the pub in, there's a haunted pub in the Red Lion in Colchester. Yeah, that was that one. Yeah. And that was like doing a Ouija and whatnot. I didn't do the Ouija. But I did. That was there that I heard. We heard. I was talking to a guy about. He thought it was a ghost. It was actually a dog man. And we heard footsteps coming up the stairs. All of us, as we were in conversation about one of his accounts. unbeknown to us. We just all of a sudden heard these footsteps coming up the stairs, and we were like, "What the hell is going on?" But if you have a little peruse of the shop, would be grateful. Have a little look. We've got some new designs coming out, so this one I really do quite like. It's the Dogman poppy bag. And it's quite nice actually. Because yeah, they're all bespoke designs. You won't find them anywhere else. All done by Roxy. So yeah, give it a little go. Father's Day coming up, and I'm sure if there's any holiday in America, then of course you will want to have a little look at that. Who can blame you, eh? Really, what better present? And also with people, if you would like, more than welcome. I have been through my members' videos, and I've got a ton of members only videos, absolute ton of them. And I do a members live weekly, and it's usually about an hour to an hour and a bit, where I allow, I allow myself just to have free reign, a complete waffle breakdown, if you like. And it's fun. It's just fun every week. It's just a fun, relaxed kind of like chat with the members, and we're able to discuss everything and anything. Not just ghosts, not just paranormal. A lot of what's going on in the news, a lot of what's going on, with us, socially. So yeah, and I've got an absolute ton. I thought, well, I'm just gonna mention it because I have got so much content just on members. So yeah, please, by all means, take a little look. There's all different tiers on there that you can take out. Anyway, that's enough for the plugs. Thank you very much for listening to the plugs. Do appreciate that. And it is time to bring on our guest. Our guest is, as you guessed from the event, Mr. Joe Bass. Hello, Joe.
Hello.
Thank you very much for coming on, mate.
No problem. Been a while.
Yeah. No, it has been a while because we got in contact some time back, didn't we?
Yes, it's been a year or two.
Yeah, that's right. So, but yeah, you're a bit of a hard man, but eventually I got your arm behind your back, and I managed to get it on. Yeah, you'll probably regret it, but most guests do. But can I ask, first of all, your theory? What's your background? What's your kind of like? Where did this come from? This theory that you've got? Before we kind of like touch upon it a bit.
Well, I can tell you a short or long story. First, what initiated everything? Instead of Bigfoot, Dogman, aliens, that's all something that you would read about in the Inquirer, or you would just hear buzz about every once in a while. And I never didn't say I didn't believe in it, but it didn't become like a study of mine, a passion of mine. There was an incident that happened in a very deep place in Western North Carolina, and that's along the Tennessee border. And it's about a 2-hour drive on a dead end forest road, and extremely remote, and it goes up into a deep mountain cove. And are you familiar with Wim Hof or
No.
cold
Yeah.
plunging?
Yeah.
Cold plunging.
So
yeah.
we were, my wife, Jennifer, and my daughter, we were preparing to go to Washington State, and we love cold water. So we were prepping for our journey to Washington State so we could swim in the glacial waters. And there was a place up there in the cove, and we went in, and we were in the process of cold plunging, and we were laughing and hooting and hollering and just enjoying ourselves in the presence in the woods. And right after we did the plunge and let out a loud whoop, this rock came flying out of the woods and landed maybe 5 feet from us. And the odd experience that happened at that moment is the next thing we knew, we were driving down the road in the truck going back home, kind of talking about how cold we were from the cold water. And it was a year later, after we had went to Washington and had our Washington and Olympic Peninsula experiences, and just got to absorb the full wild aspect of Washington State. We came back and we revisited, for some reason, Sasquatch and Bigfoot and all of that came into our viewpoint, because that's what Washington is about. You see Bigfoot stickers everywhere. So it began to focus in, and then we started talking about our experience, and we realized that what I saw and what she saw was two different things. And that's we got a little bit deeper into conversation, and she saw something up on the ridge, and I saw something in the shadows where the rock was thrown. And what I saw was this very dark, almost glitch. It was like glitching in and out, and it had simian features, but the snout was a little bit longer, but it was almost coal black. And like it was, if a shadow could manifest itself, that's what I saw peeking out from underneath the brush. And what she saw was something that could be equivalent to a moving rock, a hairy rock. And the only way she saw it is that it started swaying back and forth, and she saw the wetness of its eyes. So there was a recognition that she saw, but we can't really explain the missing time, why we couldn't remember what happened, where we, like how we got back into the vehicle, everything about that. We can't really remember any of that. So after we figured out that that was our initial experience, we went back to the site and we brought the apple and the sage. We said, if we crossed any boundaries, we're sorry. And when that happened, the wind started blowing really hard, and there was a whistle that came through the woods. And so we didn't stay anywhere past that whistle. We were like, okay, thank you. And we just got back in the truck and drove away. So in the coming years, as our knowledge progressed, we ran into other people of the Sasquatch community.
Okay, right. Let me see if I can't do something this end. Right. That was interesting, Natalie.
I feel a bit sort of like
I
we've got a
know, that's the
cliffhanger.
wrong time for it to glitch. That's the wrong time for it to glitch.
Yeah. I was worried that my phone was going to do it because it had no internet connection about 2 hours ago completely, and I thought I'm not even going to be able to get on. But
Yeah,
I was a bit worried something was going to happen. Yeah.
yeah. Do you know? I think there's I've been having a little think, about all of this. He'll come back on. He'll come back on. Hopefully, he's just gone for a moment. Do you know? Right, years ago, we all lived in villages, didn't we? Okay, little townships, little villages. We didn't really quite know what was going on past our village, except for people like passing by and traders and thinkers and whatnot, you know, and saying, oh, well, you know, sort of like this, no, you want to know what's going on with Mrs. Jones in the next village. Oh, dear, Mrs. Jones. It was the only sort of news. We didn't know any wider avenue of news. There was nothing really to worry about other than our immediate location. Pardon me. Anyway, right. Now I was thinking with everything that's going on with the you know, the fuel prices going up, the advent of this war business, sort of like, and the feeding of news to us. We've got access to news from all over the world, but it's the interpretation of this news which we've got. I'll tell you a funny little thing. I went to a news broadcasting company once to do work. Yeah. I was there in the capacity of working, and I was chatting to a guy, he was saying, I said, "Oh, what's the most popular show that you got, you know, on your channel?" And it's a British news broadcasting company, you know, but it's not the BBC. It's another one. It's an independent, but yeah. So you kind of like can guess it. And he said, "Oh, that's simple, Phil." He said, "The news." I was like, "Excuse me." No, I'm talking about your you know, your top rated show. He said, "Excuse me, Phil, that is our top rated show, if you don't mind. And I should know, I work here." I was like, "Really?" So the news is a top rated. He said, "Yeah, it's under entertainment in the category."
Oh, right.
That kind of tells you something, doesn't it?
Yeah, I was
So,
going to say, I didn't know that. That's quite an interesting.
yeah. So that kind of like, you know, it tells you something from the point of view of, well, okay. And of course, people are more, what's the word? Their interest is kind of spiked by always with a bombshell bad news, because from a psychological point of view, bad news might affect us.
Well, it strikes we're more reactive to fear, aren't we? So anything that could
Yeah.
be potentially, it's an immediate threat or could be a threat.
Yeah, I say good news is
Yeah.
not a threat. Exactly
Yeah,
right
no,
now.
no.
So good news
Yeah.
is not a threat. So of course, good news is like, oh, the sun's shining and you're over your cold, eh? Oh, great. That's great. But if you say that, oh well, instead of a cold, it's turned into the plague, people are what? You know, that, oh, I want to hear about that. What happened? So you know, it's one of these things where I think with everything that's going on with the ship business, let's put it that way, and the people that got taken ill on that ship, plus the fuel prices going up, plus the news on the war and everything else, I think it's a case of I think it's a case that it wants to put us in a state of fear. It wants to put us in that state in a way, you know. And I think it's sort of feeding the fear because it is another way of control. So if you think about it, and I was thinking about it this way, kind of like I was watching an old Monty Python sketch, and it's where Michael Palin is a sergeant, drill sergeant. He's walking up and down the line of soldiers, and he's going, "Right, and who would like to join me in marching up and down the square?" Yes, all afternoon, marching up and down the square. And of course, there's one which one of the soldiers pipes up, goes, "Well, actually, I'd like to read a book." Well, you would you? You'd rather read a book than marching up and down the square. So it's one of those. But it got me thinking that, well, a lot of times, it's when you are in the army, and it goes for when you're at school. you're induced into that fear, because unless you have that fear, you don't have that so-called respect. So it's a control, which it is. It's a control.
Yeah, it's probably one of the more efficient forms of control for immediate response, which is why they tend to try and use fear first, because
Yeah.
it does strike an immediate response in your body, even if even if you don't believe it, you still have to override that initial adrenaline spike anyway. So it's probably the quickest way of trying to create an illusion of control, actually, rather than actual control, because fearful people and animals are a bit unpredictable. But if you keep people in a state of constant background fear, people don't think straight, do they? They're not
Yeah.
because their
Yeah.
their situational awareness goes to that, isn't it? So they're focused more narrow on what you're being told to be afraid of, rather than paying attention to what's going on around you as well. So it does work on a lot of different levels as well. But
it does, but the thing is, it works.
yeah, because the mammalian brain can't help but react to threat, because that's the way we're wired. So it's a lot, because obviously the things that we find it with horses, it's like the ones that fled at everything survived longer than the ones that went, oh, I wonder what that is, and then decided to run away. So humans, believe it or not, do exactly the same thing. We just think that we're more civilized, but we're not. We go straight into fight and flight and react, rather than going, I wonder if this is true. So that's how that, like I say, it's one of the main principal ways of controlling people. But because we stop
I think, I
thinking.
mean, it was like I brought it up because I think a lot of times with what we see and what we're given, what is pumped out to us with news. Oh, thank goodness, Joe is also back on. I have been
Oh, is
messaging
he
him in the
coming back?
background.
Yay!
Yeah, right then.
That's brilliant.
Hey, brother.
Okay, here I am.
You
I'm
glitched
fighting.
out. Oh, he's gone.
He's gone again. Okay, that's fine. Well, we'll get him
We'll
on.
just
We'll get
carry
him
on.
on again. We shall persist. Who else has been having problems with internet? Natalie has. I have as well. I've been having problems with internet. It's absolutely shocking. It's like, really? I mean, you often find it like kind of in busy times. You know, if you're living in a built-up area, then the distribution box, or the which our individual internet goes to, gets overloaded, especially when kids are off on holiday, because they're all like PS3s and stuff, and it's just like the bandwidth gets narrower and narrower and narrower. But but then people might be watching Netflix, load of Netflix. There's a good few things on that as well at the moment. We're
I
watching
find
one
the
kind of thing.
American internet is a lot more glitchy as well, as a general rule. I suppose it depends whereabouts they are.
Yeah,
A bit.
yeah. Yeah, I think it depends. Forests and woods suck up internet anyway. It sucks up internet, and it makes me sometimes think. I wonder. People say that they're satellites, telecommunication satellites, but surely with a telecommunication satellite, it would. If it was me, okay, it would come down. The beam would come down in a cone shape, and it would just like kind of like this, to encapsulate the widest possible area on Earth, and then have those dotted around. So why is it that they have, for a start, if they have that, these telecommunication satellites, why is it in places like woods, you don't get hardly any signal, nothing at all?
Do you think it's the Sasquatches using all the Wi-Fi up?
I think so. I think so. I think they're all on PS3s.
I was
I
just
think
thinking that's what the UFO phenomenon is. They're just searching for an internet signal.
that's probably what it is. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and they're just like, beep, 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 beep. There's got to be Wi-Fi around here somewhere. I need to phone home.
Okay, here.
Oh, cool. All right, that's
You're back.
good. Excellent. All right. All right. Okay then. Right, where were we, Joe? We were we were at the point where you'd seen this Bigfoot, you had the stone thrown at you, and you interpreted it. Your wife interpreted seeing it in a different manner to you. That's where we were at.
Right. And we realized at the point, and I do apologize about the glitches.
That's
That's
okay.
another side story. Okay. I encounter them at all times. It's the weirdest thing that happens in this research. And I know this is the first time my phone ever went to the level that I could cook eggs on it and it shut itself down. So, that has to do with what we deal with in this weird metaphysical cryptid world, right?
Yeah.
So glitches and
Yeah.
stitches and everything melts away. So anyhow, um,
Mm.
we realized that we were looking at two different beings. What I have came to the acceptance of, I was calling it a flicker ape, and then I learned it was called the shadow people or the stick Indians, or another faction that's not really Sasquatch, but it's a break off of Sasquatch because of how humans and researchers um, tend to push the envelope too far with a fledgling Sasquatch per se. Um, and they begin to transform into other beings as kind of like a defense mechanism. And what I know I saw was a form of a dogman, a variant, not an elder, a very dangerous form, which I call the Vagar, and that is more of like the teenage version of the Dogman. So it's just it scares things. It menaces people, and in some stories, like in the 1522 story, it broke into the church and it killed a bunch of people inside. So these are events that happen because of things that are way beyond what we could even conceive. And sometimes when we speak about these things, there's glitches that happen, such as my phone turning off. I've had many interviews with other researchers, and they come back and they say, everything we spoke about, all the pictures we've taken, they've all been corrupted, and we're sorry. And this, by far, is the furthest I've gotten on digital media to speak my
No
story.
way.
So
This is.
thank you
This
very
is.
much, guys, for allowing me to speak this.
See, we're
Oh my
creating
word.
a channel here for you to speak through. Hopefully, we'll keep the
Yeah.
channel going.
Do you know? I'm
Yeah, thousands
expecting.
of miles away too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm expecting that Mission Impossible thing to come up. After this message, it will self-destruct in 5 seconds.
Yeah, I'm looking up in the sky for drones right now. So
Yeah. But you
never know.
saying that, there's an awful lot of YouTube channels that are being hit big time. A lot of cryptid channels are being hit.
That's right,
All right.
because
A
there's
lot.
truth, and they might think they know the truth, but um, it goes deeper. I'm not saying all Sasquatch are like this. I'm tuning into a particular clan, which I call the River Clan, um, and they traverse worldwide. It isn't like anything local, um, and they create um, structures. But so does Dogman, and what you do your research on is the Dogman Teepee.
Mm.
Um, so those are more like nodal points, and nodal, I mean like energy points. If you look around those teepees, you might find certain rocks placed in certain positions, quartz rocks. I'm not sure around in Essex if there's that type of mineral rocks that is there for you, but I do know that there's a lot of clay that's underneath the whole of Essex. So
Yeah.
it creates a different type of um, dog man per se in where your area is versus the Washington State or the Appalachians. or Florida, or the Northeast Kingdom, which has of the United States, which is Maine and Vermont, New Hampshire, has a lot of rock, gneiss rock, granite, so it holds the different types of resonance, um, and so on in different areas. So there's different representations. Like up in Canada, they say they hardly even have heard any stories about the Dogman, but in other areas like Land Between the Lakes, that's in Tennessee,
Yeah.
that's it's nothing but Dogman. And there has to be a rhyme or reason for these certain things. And in my research, what I've came across for the Essex region is that you could call the Sasquatch, Dogman, alien orbs, UAPs, puts them all as one being, but in different phases of development as they travel through our world to go into the static world or the aether world, where they unravel here in this world in order to go into the other world to just learn something else, or to let this world go in order to bring the intelligence or the energy from the aether world into this side. So it's like a continuous Mobius circuit. And there's no timeline to this. And what I've seen in Essex is that the travelers, you can call them the travelers, or they're the Sasquatch clan, that this particular type, they've been like stuck in the mud, which would be the clay of Essex. And it's been brought to my attention that you, Phil, are a carrier of this lineage. And before they fade away into nothing, which is kind of like the stink, like old stinker,
Yeah.
the sulfur smell, the
Yeah.
smell of rotting clay, um, that's a form of them, like their essence leaving, but it's something that you can smell. But when they scared you, they solidified their existence, and this conversation even keeps them from like passing on into nothing and not fulfilling their purpose. So we don't know everything. None of us do. Lovecraft was very close with his statements on certain things,
Yeah.
but it might take another 1,000 years. It might be tomorrow, but there's a connection here, Phil, that they came to you in order to anchor themselves in this reality. And yes, some of them might be the angry version, the werewolf version. I mean, the Werewolves of London is a
Yeah.
classic story. So
Yeah.
it's very solidified, and you're part of that story. And but it needs to progress a little bit further to allow them safe passage. And that's what I've always seen from all the travels I've been through. Then you got the researchers out in the Pacific Northwest, and you got the researchers in the Appalachians, and there's people that are all over the place, and they're just looking for the fear factor. Or then there's the flip side. Instead of having the monster in the woods, they have there's the friends that are in the woods. These are our friends, and we're going to communicate with them, and we're going to cohabitate with them. But it's always kind of, and then it's, if you look at nature itself, if you try to domesticate an owl, you only hinder its existence. It's kind of like don't feed the bears. It's the same with Sasquatch and the orbs and the UAPs. There's a whole nother system that's happening, and I haven't figured it out yet, but I'm close enough to a certain truth that there's a little bit of facilitation as a healing to allow certain areas that are stuck.
Yeah.
And that's the
It's
best
funny
way
you
I can
say.
explain it.
You know, Joe, it's funny you saying about the TP structures. There's a little known thing about these structures, which a lot of people kind of like don't really. If you come across one, very often you will find for a start that a lot of the twigs that are weaved intertwined into these structures, and you'll get a central spine and then branches, and they're all deadfall branches. None of these branches are freshly cut off the tree or broken off a tree. They're all scavenged from around the area. Now, a lot of times with, as I say, with bushcrafters, especially with the people like the cadets and scouts and such, and the Army Cadet Force, their whole policy is leave no trace, so they will take them down again. That's part of their ethos. That's part of what they do. But if you have a look at these TP structures, there's two things. One is you will find almost char marks, burn marks on the inside of the wood, but nothing on the ground. No burn marks on the ground, but on the inside. Now it makes me wonder. You mentioned, Joe, that they're like almost temporal energy points. That makes some sense from the point of view of there will be, next time you see a TP structure, have a closer look at the actual wood on the inside. On the inside of the TP structure, and you'll find that there's char marks on the wood just on one side. Also, if you have a thermometer, then take a reading, yeah, ambient temperature reading, and then a reading inside that structure, and it will be a differential of about 1 to 2 degrees, which is a considerable amount. When you think that these structures are never normally covered in ferns, they never normally have any weathered covering to be used to stop the rain or the wind. They're open. They're just branches stacked up in a manner which is with forethought. There's reason. But those two factors, have a little look, everyone listening. If you see a structure, burn marks and also temperature, the temperature will differ, which is very true. And I think it correlates strongly with what you were saying, actually, Joe, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a slow burn.
Yeah, yeah. I wondered, so basically, bottom line, Joe, with the let's take the instance you had with your wife. You came to the conclusion, just so that we spell it out, basically, because you're a very educated man, and I know that because I'm not just blowing smoke up your bum. I know this because of the messages you sent me, and I had to actually message you back and say, look, we're going to have to, because there's a lot of formulas in there. There's a lot of
Yes.
coordinates, map coordinates. There's a lot of reference in those messages. And I we had a conversation. We said, look, we're going to have to sort of lay it out a little bit more, even for my sake, to be honest, a little bit more in the realm of kind of easier to digest. So with that in mind, can you take us through your thinking and your thought about the sighting that you saw? After you saw it, you went home and you gave it some thought. What did I see? What did I see that was so different that my wife saw? Why did we have that differential in our sighting? Why did we have a difference? What was your thought behind that?
That thought did not come for another year. That was the biggest forethought. And the question why we saw two different.
No, 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 please don't. No, no, internet, please. No, behave. You will come back.
Abracadabra.
Yeah. You have not frozen. You will come back. Right, I'll tell you what, while we're waiting, I'm going to go have a little look at the comments and see who is on the comments. Kate, hello. Thank you very much for being here and moderating. Dawn, thank you very much for being here and moderating. Do appreciate it. Lovely seeing you again. Roxy B, thank you for being admin, taking care of that side of things. She's got a very special occasion tomorrow. She's meeting up with Fight Club. There's going to be like 1,500 people. Oh, he's gone. He'll be back on. Don't worry. You know, if there's one thing about Joe, he won't give up. So Keith Ashton, hello. Oh, what did he say? Oh, happy Friday, Roxy. Yeah, don't bother saying hello to me, will you, Keith? Yeah, chatting up with missus. Yeah, got Kate. Let's have a look. Goldfish paranormal. No idea. Let's have a look. No idea. Don't know. Let's have a look. Yeah, that's okay. We can do this all night. That's fine, Joe.
Yeah, we could do this all night. So there seems to be a certain thing here that's happening. And I appreciate everybody that has taken the patience to listen to my story from Western North Carolina, nationwide, worldwide. I appreciate everybody that's on this channel listening patiently and getting through the glitches. But I'm telling you, I'm doing my best, and it glitched again, and I apologize. So, last time I got really close to the truth, my phone completely blocked me, it locked me, and all the pictures I took for over the past year of the sites I've been to and the other like technical devices I was beginning to work on, they all disappeared. So there's something to it, and I'm gonna keep it simple. Okay. As the title of the show was Autopsy on the Snowflake, it's very hard to, like, I'm melting away every time I get to the truth. It's kind of like with a snowflake. You only got seconds to look at it before it's gone. And it's very hard, even when you're using a camera or taking a picture. But I am in full communication with you, Phil, and I'll be in communication with you too, Natalie. I'm giving you information, and you can share this from afar because right now you're at a very pivotal point in that region and also here in Maryland somewhere. But the Sasquatch Festival is happening there, 50 years to commemorate 1976, where I guess there was Sasquatch seen, or the Woman, the Woadsman. Is that what it's called?
Woodwoes.
Woodwoes. Okay. The Woodwoes was seen drinking the salt water, the brackish water, at some location. Now, if you think about that, during drought periods, the reason they're not drinking fresh water, they're drinking salt because they need that grounding. That is part of what they are. They're also seen as the Glimmermen, various other creatures. It's all the same thing. So in that 200-year cycle, that's the big one. And then there's 50-year cycles, 1822 or 1826, and then every 50 years. And right now is when the 200-year cycle meets with the 50-year cycle. So it's a double whammy. And between now and October, that's when there is a window for researchers to be able to see what's going on. And during the last week of October is when, if you're in that salt estuary area, the name, once again, I've sent you the information, but that's where you would find footprints, because that's where the unraveling happens. So this is a chance where a lot of beings are in like a juxtaposition. It's kind of like the American show Poltergeist. You know, they need to go to the light and be led to the light. And right now, they're in that position to cross over into the aether. And that's where the weight of the world, which is that one single footprint, not two footprints next to each other, It's only one, and that's where it's kind of like that's the last thing they leave before they enter the aether to start the process back over again, wherever they come out on the other side, where they're just kind of like, a butterfly coming out of a pupa, or the cicada coming out of its shell, when it comes out of the ground after being underground for 17 years. And it's a very fragile thing. And that's why a lot of people at these other points, they can't find footprints, but they find nests, and they find twigs that are cracked. And there's usually a lot of fog in these areas of rebirth, because I believe that is a bleed over from the other world that they come from, which is the aether zones.
Okay. So right. So the process. Could you just talk me through the process of them from their origin in the ether zone to them wanting to visit Essex and Harlow? If one was coming through to Essex and Harlow, what would their process be from the ether zone to turning up at my front door?
I haven't located the exact point where they come through in Essex.
Is it so? No. What I'm saying, Joe, what is do you know what the process would be? What is it that they need elements in a way of certain weather conditions? Do they need certain weather conditions to come through from the ether zone to be a
Well, not
physical
exactly the ether. If you want
manifestation?
to take a look at the ether zone as being like, if you look above us, there's the clouds and the lightning and everything that makes up our atmosphere. And then there's the earth, which is
Mm,
very solid, and it makes up all of the areas that we exist in. So uh, these beings, the travelers, the Sasquatch, they exist in both areas. And
mm.
it I don't have enough information
No,
to be
no,
able to tell you the
I'm not.
exact biology or
Mm,
dynamics, but I know that it's very critical to everything that we know, that
yeah,
we interact with in our environment.
yeah.
So
I
if
get it.
you're
Look, I get it, Joe. I get it, honestly. And I'm not trying to box you in. I really am not, brother. I'm not, because we're all here to learn. We're all here
right,
to grow. We're all here to grow. Yeah. I defy anyone to say, I know exactly what it is. I
yeah,
defy that. You just don't. It's too uh, involved. There's too many facets to this. There's too
right.
much, and there's too much bleed over, like you say, in the paranormal with the cryptid, and the UAP. And that's what brings me to a most interesting part of your theory. And that is, you say, Joe, that these entities, and this correlates to a lot of what I say as well, these entities are able to change manifestation. So a Bigfoot could possibly change its manifestation dependent on its state of being, its fear factor, its own fear factor, its conditions, and its environment. It can change into what we would call a ghost, an apparition. Is that am I barking down the right tree? Or
No, that would be like the Glimmer Man that's mentioned,
okay,
or there's other beings that that is being seen in different areas. So I think we're looking at the same manifestation.
because I have a theory, and my theory is called the Everything Engine. And my theory basically is that uh, we have time streams. And these time streams go around, if you can imagine a jet engine. So they come through the top of the jet engine, and they spin around and come back on themselves, and they go through like almost like the event horizon. And the event horizon is the bright horizon we see, the light, if you like. The as Ryan last week would say, as Ryan Kralik would say, the information, the information of everything that's passing. But these streams are able, the carbon deposits in these streams are able to jump from one stream to the next. So I kind of like have this theory that the in dense areas like forests, like woods, these tubes of particles, if you like, it's harder for them to join together to create such complicated carbon areas as forests and woods. And because of that, they're a haven for glitches. They're a haven for those filaments not quite fitting in together. And when that
Right.
happens, that is when these entities are able to come through. These entities are able to be seen briefly, but they are physical at the time that we see them, that we witness them. So that's kind of like my take on it, you know, but it's all theory. It's all theory, Joe, you know.
I think we're on the same book.
Cool. All right. That's cool. Yeah.
Same book, different shelf.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
And if you take all of those books and you connect them together, it's all in the same library. So
yeah,
we just need to pick and choose how we read.
yeah, exactly. And do you know what, Joe? So many people that have been on this show, and we're talking, you know, like yourself, knowledgeable, logical men and women, but you know, they're not silly people. They're not taken with flights of fancy. And they thought about this. And all of them have started coming up with the same idea that it's coming from a central origin. It's coming from a central energy. You know, it's all kind of related. They're coming up with this idea where it's all related, and it's do you think that's the case, that the ghost and the UAP and the Sasquatch are all related, and Dogman?
Yes.
How are they related in your book?
Different phases. On the continuum that you were speaking about, I see it as the Mobius, and right at the center, that is where some people believe that humans and other beings that are similar to us, they are the grays and the humans are one and the same. But you can't really put, well, it's not humans from the future and it's not humans from the past, but there is something there because it's something that exists outside of time. So you can't really say it's from the future or from the past, but the influence of the gray is there to facilitate the path of the Sasquatch, the Dogmen, and the UAP and the Orbs. So yeah, they're the centerpiece. And I guess that's why you would say they're gray, because there's really no color to what they do. There's really no grounding to what they are, but there is something that they interact where we don't know how they interact. And there's so many theories on that right there in itself. But with the Orbs, I believe that in order for Sasquatch to get to certain points, or the Dogmen, or whatever other creature that is in the same line as what the researchers are looking at, they have the capability of becoming that orb.
Yeah.
And only for a moment to go where they need to go, and then they solidify back into what they are.
Okay.
So
Right.
my device is once again telling me that it's beginning to overheat. So it might go off here really soon.
Okay. All right. Right. Can I just quickly basically with your grand unified theory, it suggests we need to stop the endless debate of ape
Right.
versus alien versus ghost, right?
That's
Can you
right.
explain your water analogy for us and how you came to the conclusion that these anomalies are actually different phases of the same singular entity, which you call the traveler? So the water anomaly, how does that work?
Yeah, that's a really, like I said, it's like the snowflake thing.
Oh no. I knew it. I flipping knew it. Just, just when it's getting interesting. I mean, what is the government? What is going on? Seriously, the internet police are just getting crazy at the moment.
It's kind of weird the way it seems to glitch at certain places as well. It's not just mid-sentence. You know, like normally with an internet,
Yeah,
it's mid-sentence, whereas with him, it's just as he's about to either start or finish. Or he
yeah.
mentions, I noticed it glitched out every time he mentioned the creatures near Washington that him and his wife saw, and I thought, well, maybe they don't want him talking about them.
That's
But,
right. That's
but yeah,
right.
we've literally
Exactly.
just switched subject matter,
Yeah.
and it's gone again. So it's kind of weird.
There we go. The internet police. That's what it's what
Yeah.
it's just simply it's. I mean, I'm not a big one to believe in coincidences. I really don't. I think things we think they're coincidences because it's an easy cop out. Oh, that's a coincidence, isn't it? You know, I just like went to the toilet, ran out of the toilet roll. Coincidence? No, it's not. It's not. You know, this is not a coincidence. I think everything is, and it might be so subtle as something in the background going, an algorithm somewhere going, not gonna, no, don't want that coming out. Because the one really good thing about YouTube is fabulous, is because at the moment, with lives, you have got that one cock up factor, which everyone loves. I like watching lives because of the cock up factor, because you're never quite sure if there's going to be a cock up or someone's going to say the wrong thing, which usually is me. But it's also because you know, it's not policed as such, but it is. But it's not as much as TV. You know what I mean? It's not as, you know, kind of as much as TV. There's certain things which are trigger words you cannot say, which I won't say. There's certain words you can't, which I think is silly still. But yeah, it is odd. I agree with you, and I don't think it's coincidence. And I think it's when he was going to mention, he's just about to start to mention something which is a bit ooh, and boom, freeze.
Like I say, I mean, it's if a coincidence happens once, it probably is a coincidence. But if it keeps happening and it's repeated, it becomes a pattern. It's no longer so much of a coincidence and bears investigation.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it
yeah,
is interesting the way like we just seg from one format to another, and it's gone again.
yeah. He
Yeah,
mentioned Emodius. Where do we know that from? Emodius, or
the
I know
Mobius strip.
Emodium. That's when I get stopped up.
The Mobius is the figure of I haven't got a piece of paper, but if you have a piece of paper and it's folded into a figure of 8 particular way, it goes on for the plane of it goes on for infinity. So the Mobius
Oh,
strip is an infinity symbol, but if you fold it a certain way, it's something to do with the planes. It's like it represents infinite sort of I don't know the exact scientific definition
no,
of it,
thank
but
no.
I remember
No.
I can look it up if you. Well, you can look it up actually. You're the one with the computer there. I've only
Yeah,
got
I
my.
know, but I'd much rather ask you because you're the brain box. You know what I mean? You're my
Let me look
reference.
up the scientific definition. I know what he means by a Mobius strip is like a figure. Oh yeah, there we go. He's back again.
Yeah,
Totally.
isn't it, Joe? Isn't it weird?
One
We were
last
just saying.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were just
So
saying.
Next
You know,
chapter.
I'll tell you, Joe. Don't let the buggers drag you down. Okay, still keep coming back.
nope. You see the smile on my face.
Right. So yeah, basically, water analogy. How you came to the conclusion that these anomalies are actually different phases of the same singular entity, which you call a traveler. So just like let us know what the water anomaly and how that an analogy, sorry, the water analogy and how that equates to the traveler.
Okay. So I perceive things in the best way I could explain it is fifth dimensional reasoning. I can walk into a room and I know how outcomes will take place just by the position of everything that's in the room. It can even be an empty room. I just need to listen to people talk and somehow I can understand certain things. So the way I speak in concepts, it's almost like the end concept, and I'm trying to communicate something that has already happened. So here I go. The travelers, the River Clan, they exist in a state that is similar to water. There's the frozen state, the lukewarm state, the flowing state, and then there's the gaseous state. So um, when they enter into our existence, they come through in more of like a fog. Um, they're not there. The presence of consciousness is there, but while they're here, um, making their travel to their exit, they're picking up solidity. So when they go from the fog state, if you take a look at water vapor, fog, clouds, um, they're not evaporated, but they're still cool. So there's I'm not a weatherman, but when water evaporates, it needs heat in order to complete the cycle. And then when it solidifies, it needs cold and it becomes ice. But there's all the intrinsic things that go on in between. And it's same as with the Sasquatch community, the etheric beings, something that you can see out of the corner of your eye, but then it's gone.
Yeah.
People speak about, you know, the portals that they go through or the smell that follows them. There's so many different types and species of what we call Sasquatch, and we're beginning to figure out that, that as many different beings there are, there's also different paths and variants that we find. So once again, like the snowflake, once we think we have a finger on that particular snowflake, that snowflake's never going to appear again. You're never going to find the same crystalline structure ever again. And when another one falls, it's a completely different story. So that's the hardest part about what we're doing. We just need to accept the fact that they're not monsters in the woods. Some people might fall over rocks or get scared and hide underneath their sleeping bags, and other people go into the woods and they see things that make them feel very calm. And then there's other people in the woods that when they see something, they want to go back and see more
Yeah.
and study more. So it's kind of something that just taps you on the shoulder and lets you know that you're part of a greater system. And our minds cannot exist on that system. So we get small glimpses, or the famous word, the flash of beauty, from the
Yeah.
Olympic Peninsula and those folks. It's just a single moment, but once you see that, it opens up a whole new world to you.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree, Joe. And I just also noticed just in the comments, and I just want to point out, and I hope everyone will help, all right, in this with Larry Luttrell. His both his wife and brother haven't been very well lately, so please, if people don't mind, all right, there is a God, he's a good God, and prayer works. So let's just say a prayer, okay, for Larry, Larry's wife and his brother. What harm can it do? You know, it does work, all right. And it's a lot like Joe's saying, positive thought, you know, positive thought and thinking really helps as well, you know. And I'm looking also, you saying about the smell that they leave. Keith Ashton, he was saying he gets a lot of like dog smell, wet dog smell where he is, where he lives. He lives in the UK as well. He was getting a lot of dog smell round about where he lives, which I've said to him, yeah, you know, it is, but they're not bad. They're not all bad. They don't. People have got to stop with this. You know, these things are monsters and they're gonna eat you. And you know, no, they're not out to. They're not out to predate people on purpose. They're not. They're not. You know. Um. Uh. Right. Thank you. Excuse me for that. I just wanted to mention about Larry because you know I do feel for him and his family. Um. Right now, Joe, with orbs and UAPs, right? Um, you consider are weightless, uh, high frequency steam. They're a steam, you say, of reality. Uh, 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 Now they can transition, you say, into a grey. Why do you view the grey as the um, laminar ideal or perfect biological spacesuit? Why do you say that?
Well, if you take a look at the gray, they're wearing the salt suit, right? But if you take a look at the interior, they are more plasma. Not plasma as in blood plasma, but as in like the neon light, the light that comes when the electricity lights up the gas. But on the outside, it's best I could say is the salt suit, because here on this side of reality, we have what do we need on a daily basis? We need electrolytes, right?
Yeah,
And when we sweat, salt comes out. Salt is the life force of the human factor, or this reality that we live in. And in order for them to be able to cross back and forth, they're beings of two different worlds, two different realities, two different existence, but they aren't part of, well, they are part of the Sasquatch cycle, but they're not the Sasquatch.
right.
So that's my take on it.
Okay. All right. Now, I mean, you're quite. I mean, you know, saline is both conductive, very like more conductive than just water. Um, it's you know, obviously a flotation aid. It's a buoyant. Yeah, it's got a lot of uh it's got, and also if it steams away, it leaves the residue, so that the salt is always in solid
That's right.
form. Even though it's in liquid, it turns back into solid. Um, you know, it's quite a uniform mineral. You know, it can be both a liquid and a solid. Uh, uh, it's quite, yeah. It's interesting. It is interesting. You know, the way you describe it with a UAP. Sasquatch on the other hand, you describe as a solid state.
Right.
How does the traveler literally clay itself into a physical body with mass, Joe? Hair, weight, just from staying in our dry world for too long,
Yeah,
as
that's the
opposed to
that's a good way of looking at it. The more they gather, the more they walk, the more they absorb, they become solidified. But the big problem comes is when there are researchers or the spiritualist on both sides, all good intents, but not knowing exactly what they're doing is they're trapping the being here and causing it to become more than what it shouldn't be. So
okay.
we get like the brief glimpse of the solidification. That's the being itself. That's the Sasquatch. That's the primal vehicle that is required for it to go through our reality.
Interesting. Interesting, Joe. Thank you. It's food for thought, isn't it?
Hmm.
You know, what do you reckon that?
I'm trying to understand Joe's concept because obviously every time I look onto it, we glitch out again.
Yeah, it glitches.
And because I've not spoken to you before, it's like I'm trying to understand what you're trying to say, but I think I'm starting to get the idea of what you're trying to say. So you're kind of saying that the Sasquatch form in this world is not their true form, but it's their true form in this world, if that makes sense.
Right.
So they're sort of like,
It's just another phase.
yeah. So are you saying, so when you say phase, do you mean like their form changes from one to another and back again, but it's not phase as in metamorphosis, as in a cycle? You're talking about they can phase from one state to the other and back again at will almost, rather than
No,
having to complete a cycle of
it's not.
different phases.
Excuse me for a moment. It's happening again. So it's not exactly at will, but it's according to the environment that they're in
Okay.
and where they are on their journey to phase out completely and do what I call as the unraveling. Now, I know there's other Sasquatch clans per se or types that they don't follow this cycle. So it isn't just like there's just one particular Sasquatch that walks around and it turns into an alien or it turns into a UFO or UAP or an orb. It's like the fireflies of the Appalachian Mountains. There's 250 different species of them. Some of them you don't even see. They don't even flash. Some of them they only exist in the ground. Some of them they're there, but they have no mechanism that allows them. There's others that they prey on the other fireflies. So the particular clan that I'm studying, this is what they do. There's a cycle. It's kind of like when a flower blooms, there's a seed cycle, there's a dormancy cycle, and then there's a reblooming cycle, and there's 1,000 different type of seeds that bloom or that grow, and they're different flowers, and each one of them require different types of conditions in order to reach their full potential. And this is one particular species or type or vibration of Sasquatch that I've been following that has let me and my wife see them in that particular fashion. So this isn't like the baseline for everything. And as far as I know, there might be the 8 that's out there that nobody ever found.
No.
But there might be that type of Sasquatch out there as well. So I'm not going to put down anybody's track theory on it. So it can go anywhere from the quantum Sasquatch all the way down to the skunk ape of Florida. So, yeah, I'm not here to say, like you said, Phil, my theory is the theory. It's just one of many theories that are eventually going to become unified.
Yeah. No, I agree. They will be unified, and I think, as you say, they'll be on the same the same area, the same shelving. All of these theories, the way they're going, the way they're panning out, we're all kind of like heading towards this way. Larry Luttrell said, Joe, are the shadow people different than the Glimmer Man? Question mark.
If you want to take a look at things in like a negative and positive, they are the same, but they're on different sides of the spectrum.
Okay. Okay.
So the
All right. That's cool.
Glimmerman would be more on the positive, and the shadow would be more on the negative. But they're all part of the same creature.
Can you
Okay.
somebody explain the Glimmer Man to me? I've not heard that one before. I've heard the Shadow Man, obviously, but I've not heard Glimmer Man. What is a Glimmer Man?
Yeah, Glimmer Man is when you're I remember going to Cannock Chase with Keith Aston, and Keith showed me. I didn't act. I've got to be honest to Keith. He's watching this, but I've got to be honest. I think he knows. At the time, I was skeptical. I was skeptical because I hadn't seen any shimmering before as such. And he pointed out two trees, and in between the two trees, he said, Phil, look over there. Look, can you see it? And I looked. And I saw a glimmering. I saw like a shimmering between the trees, and it was to me in the shape of a figure. So, if you like, the best way you can describe it, Natalie, is when you're driving along and it's a lovely hot sunny day, and you look at the road and you've got that shimmer coming off the road with the heat, and it kind of distorts your view, and it looks like water. That distortion, it's a lot like that. But imagine that being more in the shape of a person.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense then, that the Shadow Man and the Glimmer Man are the same kind of phenomenon, but manifesting in different ways. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I get that.
Joe, I've got
Yes.
something else I really wanted to ask you, and that is the shatter state. Now, the shatter state is referring to Dogmen, okay, in your theory. One of the most terrifying aspects of this uh, is the shatter man and the Dogman state. Can you explain how human observation, specifically a rigid hunting or measuring mindset, causes the entity's solid body to stress and flash freeze into this brittle predatory weapon? How does it do that, Joe?
If you've seen some researchers, they have so much equipment, so many devices. They draw in more. It's hard to explain. Like, there's negative ions and positive ions, and the devices send out a lot of positive ions. And odd as it may seem, positive is bad and negative is good. When you go around a waterfall and the water's hitting the rocks and you have that good feeling, it's because there's a lot of negative ions coming out of the waterfall. Makes no sense. Negative is positive and positive is negative. So there's researchers that go out and they've all had certain, across the board, all of us, we've had our traumas, and our research exhibits our traumas that we have, and we go out there looking for that trauma that has hurt us, and we're looking for therapy, and forest is the best place to have that therapy. And when you bring in the entirety of the digital world and you bring in fear, it's going to feed off that, and it's going to protect the other beings that are traveling through. So the sole purpose of what it actually becomes once it surpasses the transitionary stage of what I call the Vagar, the werewolf, where it's just out there, it doesn't matter who it is, it's going to attack it. Once it becomes settled in, it realizes that its purpose is to scare the bejesus out of everybody that's in the woods, whether it's creating some sort of ultrasound in the mind, making you sick, creating a nasty smell, putting that spot where it goes, you need to leave, or your digital equipment suddenly just doesn't work anymore. So that, I believe, is more of a solidified state when it comes to the Dogman state.
Yeah.
But once
No, I
they
can see that.
go into that state, they can never, that they need, there's something I can't really say and I don't know about what they need to transition from that state to move on, instead of being stuck in the place that they are. So they're just part of the system regulating something until it passes or something else happens.
Sure.
That kind of makes
Yeah.
sense. Like they're almost like, you know, like you get trapped spirits in a paranormal phenomenon. So they're almost like trapped in the phenomenon that's created. I don't know how to word it, but yeah, they get stuck in
Yeah,
that state
anchors them
because
in, so it becomes a haunted house.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
and so, yeah.
So the
So
woods
they get
becomes a haunted woods.
Yeah, no, that does make sense actually,
Mm.
because it explains, like you say, the different ways that they manifest to people and how some places have that unfriendly feel, but if they've manifested into a place and then they get trapped in there as that thing, then it's going to continue, isn't it? So it's an interesting idea.
It is. No,
I've broken the internet with it.
it kind of does make sense, doesn't it? It really does
in a
kind of
weird
make
kind of
sense.
way, because it would explain, you know, how like the phenomena is so variable, but
Yeah.
if they are vulnerable to those kinds of influences, then I mean, it's like, you know, when you get perceived as something that you're not, and then that perception for some reason continues no matter how you try and change it, and then after a while you're like, fine, okay, I'll be like that then. You know, if that's
Yeah.
if that's how you think, or if you're in a situation where your behavior is dictated by your environment, if you can't get out of that environment, you can't change it, because, you know, they say with a lot of times with problems, you have to change the environment you're in as well. So if they're trapped in an environment that they can't get out of or don't know how to get out of, they get stuck in a certain way of being, and either perhaps they forget after a while that they can't, that they could change at some point, or they get angry. So,
Or they get angry.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it
This is do you
makes
know,
sense.
I don't actually know what is going on with the internet just lately. And it seems to be, do you know, I've been watching other channels, and you know, channels about it can be as channels which are kind of like about let's have a look, about knitting, channels that are about sailing. I was watching one channel about motorbikes, and it was alive, and they seem to go fine, not a hitch. And this is prime time, sort of, in the evening, like we are. It was on a Saturday night. It was about motorbikes, and it was about sort of speedway and stuff like that, and not a hitch. And it's not like they're all in the studio. There was one guy that was actually, kind of like on site on the track. He was actually on a grass track with a speedway bike. So he's out, near a wood doing it. Nothing. And I was like, I was like, what the heck? Why? And yet we can talk. And the moment we mention about cryptids, the moment we mention about ghosts, paranormal, moment we mention about anything which is slightly a bit woo woo, a little bit out there, or maybe other bodies are involved, official bodies are involved, bam, it seems to be, that's it, we get knocked off.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, at the moment I'm just looking at the space weather. There's likely G1 minor storm and a slight chance of G2 moderate storms on the 15th to 16th of May. So the geomagnetic storms do tend to affect, as far as I know, the internet. Because the coronal mass ejections give me migraines, and we've just had one passing. But the internet glitches seem to be related to the geomagnetic storm. So some of it could be like, because we're going halfway around the world to get the signals bouncing backwards and forwards, it could be that we're just at the wrong angle for it. And that's why it's a bit variable as well, because it's like the storms rise and fall. So but it does seem a little coincidental tonight that every time we start talking about perhaps the cryptids that he knows don't like, they're just messing with him.
Maybe. I want to say hello to Matt Hornick. Hello, Matt. You got I will. That has been starred, that question. Thank you for joining, Matt. I hope you're keeping well. I have been following you. So Blue Mountain Paranormal, okay, on Facebook, really good page. But he does some really good investigations, and the equipment he's got. Not that I'm jealous, Matt. I am though. Got tons of equipment. My word.
Oh, Matt's equipment, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm glad you said that.
He's a paranormal.
I'm glad you said that, not me. Matt's equipment. And
I know. I was just thinking, how do I qualify the rest of the statement without it going downhill quite rapidly?
Yeah, I know. Well, it sort of was my head, and as soon as you mention all Matt's equipment, he starts smiling. I was like, oh yeah,
it's like instant jealousy, isn't it? It's like,
that's it.
Yeah.
And of course, let's have a look. Shade Viking. Oh, thank you very much. Yes, thank you for joining us, Shade. Appreciate that. Very nice you're here. Also, Michigan Cryptid as well. Hello, Michigan Cryptid. If they were truly bad, we wouldn't be here. They're exactly right. My thoughts exactly. Yes, people are very, very confused about that. How many witnesses actually do tell their accounts? Witnesses to Dogman. How many do actually? Yes, they're scared. Yes, they're frightened. But how many actually do give their accounts, or how many are actually dragged off, injured, bitten? Very, very few, if none. All of them live, including myself, to tell the tale. Pardon the pun. Had to say that though. So yeah, it's one of those things, really, isn't it? There was another guy on here. I did message you. This is it. Reverend Wolf VIP. Hit me up with a DM, okay? And because you've got some interesting ideas. And what I like about doing this, is all these people coming together, not in fractured groups where they don't talk to each other. Bigfoot won't talk to Dogman. UAP will not talk to anyone. And the paranormal just like got their head in the ground in the sand, you know. I like it when everyone's kind of like putting in their two penneth. Everyone's putting into the pot because believe me, I am sure that it's all connected, guys. All right, honestly, people. Um, Matt Hornick said, question was good, got it down. 2 bags at last investigation. Okay,
You didn't
right.
need the minivan for that one, and he managed to fit it all into 2 bags. All his gear.
Right. I'm just gonna send another. I'm gonna send another link. Okay, to Joe. Let's have a look. Okay. I'm gonna send another link. I reckon he's probably by now. He's on top of his car now, holding onto the roof rack. I can
Joe, I
imagine it.
wonder, have you noticed that a lot of Americans tend to do podcasts from inside the car? And I was wondering why, but maybe they have to drive to the Wi-Fi signals. Maybe that's what it is.
They do, don't they?
You know, because I was thinking, you know, when he came on, I thought, oh, there's another American that's doing a podcast from his car, but maybe the signal's better actually outside than it is in the houses.
Yeah, if anyone knows that, because there is quite a few. I know there is quite a few that we've spoken to which have done their podcast from a vehicle, a truck or a car or something. It's a bit odd, isn't it?
Matt, you'll need your own aeroplane to bring all your stuff with you.
Yeah, I mean, logic dictates.
Your own plane.
Doesn't logic dictate though that the most stable internet would be your Wi-Fi at home?
That's unless I suppose unless they're at work and they have to go out in the car to do the podcast,
or unless not everyone's got Wi-Fi. Because I heard a funny thing. I've got a theory about Wi-Fi as well. That Wi-Fi box downstairs, right, that we've got, not only does it give out a radio frequency, all right, for all the laptops, phones, and everything else, okay, but it also acts like a radar. So if you can imagine that it's able, there is systems built into it, so I've heard, where it's able to bounce the signal out and it can detect walls because it like a bat sonar, it kind of like and it keeps tabs on where you are in a house and you as a figure. So it's got like, so not only are they listening in on our devices, it's also watching.
I think is it smart TVs and is it Xboxes and PlayStations can do that as well? Because I remember hearing about the Wi-Fi possibly can do that, but I've got a feeling that the other some of the other devices can as well. You know, to locate where you are in the house and how you use the spaces and everything. It's quite frightening, really, when you think about it, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then the whole thing. What's he saying?
Matt, sorry, Nat. Yeah, Matt came up with an interesting thing because Matt knows stuff, Interesting concept. Salt is one of 3 elements that make up alchemist philosopher's stone. Salt, sulfur, mercury. Ooh. Right. Yeah. Interesting as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's our alchemy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that sort of also ties in with the idea that the occult and the UFO phenomenon are interchangeable. So if alchemy must fit into that somehow as well, by the transformation of states. So there must be a way of. I don't know enough about alchemy, to be fair. Matt probably knows more than me. But,
Shade Viking. If you all only knew what I'm shown. Well, I would like to know. So hit me up, DM me on Facebook, okay, or in the comments on YouTube. We got to talk as well. I'd like to know, definitely. Maybe it correlates with what I know. Maybe what I've seen. Okay. But yeah, we all got to put into the pot, Right, let's have a look. Larry Luttrell saying, I believe cryptids emit a low-level EMP, uh, an infrasound that distorts electrical devices, and the infrasound causes paralysis, sickness in people, nausea, headaches, even unconsciousness. Yeah, yeah. Now, Natalie, doesn't that same thing happen sometimes also with paranormal and ghost hunters and things like that?
Yeah, the demonic is supposed to cause sickness, nausea,
Mm,
like say strong spirits. So
yeah,
it's quite, like you say, it's quite strange when you start looking at all the different phenomenon, but they do have commonalities with them. Or whether the commonalities are basically because the way we can only react a certain amount of ways because our body only works a certain way, or whether they're the same thing and interacting with us, and that's why the manifestations are all the same. That's the head spin. Isn't it? It's like chicken and egg, isn't it? It's like, are we
yeah.
picking up on like that because we can only pick up on that because of our body? Bodies can only react to the wavelengths like that, or is it the phenomenon itself?
I am trying to get Joe back on at the moment in the background. Okay. It's proving a little difficult, but so we'll just carry on for a little while and give Joe the benefit of the doubt that he is on top of his car, holding onto the roof rack
It's like
with
holding
one
an
arm
antenna.
like that. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
he
Or he
needs to
might have
grab one
jimmied
of
up
the
a tree.
trees and use it as an antenna
If
and
he
see
comes
whether
on and he's on top of some tree somewhere holding onto a branch, then good on him. He's persevered. So he deserves a mug.
He's done well tonight, actually, to be fair. When he glitched out the first time, I thought he was going to disappear and
Yeah,
we just have to waffle for an hour and a half.
yeah,
Not that that's
yeah,
a
he's done
problem,
well.
but
Well, we're good at that. It's not a problem to us,
yeah, I
is
was
it,
going to
waffling?
say we could probably manage longer than that if we really wanted
Oh
to.
my word, easily, easily. Matt Hornick has come up with a good question. Natty, don't think perhaps quantum entanglement might explain a lot of haunting phenomena.
I think that's when we were talking about the forest getting haunted and they being Joe was saying about being stuck in the phase state. I think that's what Matt's referencing. I
Yeah,
would need to know what he means by that. I think, Matt, if you can expand on that statement for us so that we know
yeah.
what you're implying.
Extrapolate, Matt.
Yeah, because
Extrapolate.
let's use um
I like that word.
it is a good
Anything
word, isn't it?
Yeah, anything that's got sort of like, a bit iffy connotations, I kind of yes, extrapolate.
Do you know what my favourite word always was? It's like oubliette. I don't
Oubliette.
know why. I just like the sound of it. Oubliette.
Yeah.
Even though the word itself is not that great, but
Oh, I
it's
like
like
the way you say that. Say that again.
oubliette.
No, 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 not like that. No, 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 like you said it before. Oubliette.
I know I always said it before. I wasn't paying attention to what I was saying. I was just letting my mouth run. Oubliette.
Yeah. I mean, personally, do you know what? I think, Matt, if you want my opinion, I think, yeah, if it's don't think perhaps quantum entanglement might explain a lot of haunting phenomena. Yeah, I don't. I personally don't think that quantum entanglement does. No, I know there's certain sort of um uh similes when it comes to there's a right, it's not the right use of word, is it really? But there's quite a lot of commonality from the point of view of uh, when you get quantum quantum particles can react regardless of distance in the same manner, almost as if it's they have a instantaneous communication between the two. Einstein's spooky action at a distance, and some it does sort of correlate closely to some of the phenomena of paranormality from the point of view of the paranormal's got a behavior where it's able to almost preempt. It preempts our actions, it preempts our thinking, it preempts our experiments in a quite a jovial manner. By that I mean we can lay down loads. I mean, even with your vast amount of equipment that I'm not jealous about, you can put down a vast amount of equipment that you keep sending me photos of. Look at this, Phil, what I've got. I'm like, all right, it's great. And but then once you pack it all away because you get nothing, perhaps, and this is the thing with it, it's only when you pack it all away and go to walk out of the room that you'll get that tap on the shoulder, that you'll get that noise on the other side of the room. And you think, darn it, why couldn't that have happened when I had the SLS out? Why couldn't that have happened when I had the thermal out? It reacts in a manner which does sort of know. It knows our intent. Much the same as cryptids. A lot of times, cryptids will they'll know before we even get into a forest. They'll know before we even get into a wood. Don't worry about I'll sneak up on it. I'll perhaps take my shoes off. I'll wear climbers shoes because they're very quiet and supple, and to gingerly tread through the forest to try and there's no point. If they want to be seen, they will be seen. If they want to be seen. These entities, unlike quantum, it's more predictable. It is still more predictable. We're getting to we're running experiments which predict the outcome. And I think that's the difference. With paranormality and a lot of other of these sciences, if you like, a lot of these other cryptozoology, and with the UAP, that's the difference I see as being from quantum. Quantum is quantified by experimentation and repeatable experimentation. But with paranormality, it's not. It's very, very difficult. It's very frustrating to get this to repeat in a manner that can be tested. And that's what's really tripping all of us up. I think that's the main difference. There's correlation between the two, quantum and that, but it's the main difference is the quantum in a laboratory can be studied and it's repeatable. In CERN, it's repeatable. It happens. It's kind of magic because anything that is we don't fully understand, we can class as magic, if you like. But when we go into a haunted house, it's not repeatable. Even though it's the same type of thing happening, it knows it's sentient, it's coherent of us, but it's not repeatable. And that's the frustrating part. I think that's the difference from my book anyway, but what the hell do I know? Matt Hornick says, once together, always together. And what if the engagement is temporal as well? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the whole thing. What if we're walking, where we almost take it with us? It feels like that sometimes. it feels like we kind of do take it with us. We in a way we mold it. We mold the result. We kind of, and if we do, we do it in a real sort of kind of a crap way, because I would like to do it where it can be backed up by equipment. It can be backed up where I get that photograph. But it does have that temporal feel to it, that connection. There is that connection that it needs to be witnessed. It needs us to manifest. Right, let's have a look. Keith Aston, have you gone again? And it's oh no, Keith, you mentioned it now. You said government word. Oh no, we're all going to be taken off. Have you you have gone again, and it's the government doing this? Oh blimey, it'll be knocking on your door. Right. Was good. Got it down 2 bags at least. Investigate. Yeah. When I came to visit, figure out airport terminal. Let's have a look. Ready, steady, retro. Hello. Oh, hello, lady. Good. Thank you for coming on. Trace where you are in your home. Yeah. This funny everything, every blog I go, not trying to show. Yeah, this funny everything blog I got to sound, but not in this show. Okay. Right. I know sometimes when you're typing it out, it's really, yeah, it gets a bit. I knew a guy once who had a really bad stutter, and he used to type his message in the same manner as his stutter. So you get like repeating single letters. You know, he would type it as if he was actually voicing it in a message. Yeah, took ages to read. Bless him. Yeah, smart TVs definitely can. I'm glad I haven't got a TV. Yeah. No, smart TVs can. They can. Who else we got? Oh, that's it. Paranormal short sessions by. Hey, hello there, Keith. My Wi-Fi in the house is the most reliable here in Florida, USA. Cool. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Florida's lovely. Salt keeps energy. Keith Ashton, what happened to me after being on Canic Chase? Yeah. Okay. Well, listen, guys, I honestly don't think Joe is going to be back. I don't think he's going to make it. Otherwise, he would have done. I've sent him a link twice now. Joe, if you're listening, I'm really sorry. But I would like to have you back on, and we will talk, brother. Okay, we will talk. I'll get in touch with you this evening, and we'll pencil in. Okay. Even if we try and do. Oh, hang on. Oh my words. Oh, wait a minute. Wait. Oh, look, here we go. Joe.
One last word.
Yeah, for sure.
Now,
Oh, brilliant.
I wasn't able to hear the fill-in or the commentary, but thank you for allowing me to be on your show. And I hope the listeners have had a lot of good things to say and bad things to say. So, it's part of the game, right? Because if nobody hates you, you're doing something wrong. So, same with Sasquatch and the Dogman. If there's no Dogman, well, there mustn't be any of us. So, right? And what's that worth keeping the system going if there's none of us? Because we're still part of the system. We all got a lesson to learn.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you want to do. Do you want to? I've got a few more questions. Should we run through those as you got internet at the moment, or?
Okay, a few more questions to see how long it lasts, and if it just kind of segues into silence again. I do believe that might be the last one.
Yeah, we'll call it if it segues into silence again. We'll call it a day. All right. So we'll kind of like we'll do that. I've got a question which is a missing body problem, right? A major criticism in anomaly research is the lack of physical evidence.
No, that's an easy one.
you famously said that trying to find missing link is like trying to perform an autopsy on a snowflake.
Snowflake, right?
Could you elaborate for us on why catching a physical body is impossible and what actually happens when the environment changes?
Well, if in my belief, like I said, there might be other beings out there, other types of Sasquatch out there, that have their own ways of evading. But what I see is they exist on a different frequency. You can see it and you can feel it. It doesn't mean that it's not real. Death is different, and that's the biggest point in what I'm trying to get to. There is no death in the cycle of Sasquatch, Dogman, and Orb. They're all the same beings. You can't catch lightning in a jar, right? You can't do an autopsy on a snowflake, right? And you can't catch a ghost. So, in the end, you're only chasing your own tail if you don't step out of the box and see it and at that point. And it kind of takes away from the chase, though, and the mystery and the fear that if you can't touch it, if you can't feel it, but you can feel it. That's the whole thing. The reason you don't find dead bodies because they don't die. They unravel. They phase out. They continue on into another existence. We are locked into these human bodies, which we must decay in order to leave. And then you go into the whole reincarnation or whatever it may be, but the same energy comes back into another body and keeps it going, which is the Trinity, which is our religion, which is God, or whatever you care to call it, whatever you care to pray to, such as what you did before. And, you know, it's hard to say with me being from where I'm from, the Deep South. I have a very strong, devout religion in my own. So, yes, I believe in Sasquatch, UFOs and aliens, and God. So, you know, there it is out there for the world to know.
That's cool. All right. Listen, Joe, will you come on again for us another time?
Yes. Yes. This is my first one. I've never, ever been on. So the wine bottle has been broken on the Teepee Dogman.
Dogman TB hunting. Yeah, Dogman
Dogman
TB
Teepee hunting.
I know it's a
Right.
bit of a mouthful. It's a bit of a
Hey,
mouthful.
same as Uncanny Cryptic Cartographer, right? So,
yeah. Oh yeah, I'm gonna show. Oh yeah, that's the thing. Good. I'm pleased you reminded me. I'm pleased you reminded me. People, look, this is Joe's Facebook. Right here. Okay. So this is it. Uncanny Cryptid Cartographer. All right.
right.
Now, it's a public group. All right. Now, Joe has got a lot to share. He's got a lot of really great. He's thought this through, and my word, he's thought this through. What we've spoken about tonight just tips it, it just tips the surface. It skips over, right? He has got some. He sent me some really very detailed messages about his theory. So I would, if I was you, hop along to Uncanny Cryptid Cartographer. 103 at the moment, members, but let's just go and follow on that page. You won't regret it. He's got some great stuff on there. And oh, look at that. That looks really good, really interesting. Monster or weather. That looks really interesting for a start. So, you know, let's follow that and share it out, okay? Because he's a lovely, nice, genuine guy who's in the very essence of the word, a good researcher, a really good researcher.
Thank you.
No, credit where credit's due, you know. And like I say, we've all got to put into the pot, Joe. We've all got to put into the pot. You know, we're all on the right track.
Yeah, the butcher, baker, and candlestick maker, right?
Right. That's it. Exactly. Okay. With that, guys, I want to say thank you very much. Natalie, thank you.
Thank you, Natalie.
Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you too,
really-
Joe. Really enjoyed it.
Really appreciate it. And we'll have you on again when we get more stable internet. We'll have you on again if that's all right, Joe.
Will do. And I'll make sure I get my copper rods and Faraday blankets ready so I don't get any interference or glitches, right? Okay.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Joe. Take care of that beard.
You have a good night.
All right. Bye-bye. Right. Thanks, Nat.